Project command. Stand by power transfer. Minus X minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
One of the best ways to win me over in this hobby is to show me something that gives others the ability to keep their games going for years to come. PinSound just gave me another reason to love them. They provide soundboards, dot matrix controller boards, but now they are providing CPUs. WPC89 is currently the only model available, but as you can see, they must have plans to get the others. So stay tuned for that, guys. Inside you will find a few extra items. A thank you card, an inspection quality card, your apron card, and some candy from France that is honestly pretty dang good. Here is the PLCC extractor tool that will come in handy soon, an extra CR2032 battery, and a ROM removing pry bar, and of course the instructions. This will be good to hold on to if you need help setting up dip switch settings. Then you have this beauty, the RocketCPU. I specified later in the video that this is the Ready to Play edition. Like other products I have held in my hands from PinSound, this RocketCPU has the same outstanding quality of materials. Not to mention, I love the color. This board will work for the following games: Black Rose, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Demolition Man, Doctor Who, Dracula, Fishtails, Funhouse, Getaway, Gilligan's Island, Harley Davidson, Hurricane, Indiana Jones The Pinball Adventure, Judge Dredd, Party Zone, Popeye Saves the Earth, Star Trek The Next Generation, Terminator 2, The Addams Family, Bride of Pinbot The Machine, Twilight Zone, and Whitewater. I will be installing this board into my next restoration machine, Doctor Who. Okay, I think we've all been there before when it comes to buying a new game. You're like, all right, let's take a look at the insides as you're talking to the seller, you know, and like, gotta make sure that the boards are all intact, that we don't have any problems. Then you open it up and you take a look. Luckily, this board is completely intact with no problems. But let's say, for instance, I was to open this up and the board had heavy battery damage, or the board was completely missing. You've got a couple of options, and I'm going to show you a pretty good option, and that is using the PinSound's new RocketCPU. So what we're going to do, we're going to pull this board out and pretend like the reason why we're replacing it is because of battery damage, which is going to be your most common issue this day and age with games that have been neglected. So let's get this board out. All we're going to need is a Phillips head screwdriver. Let's disconnect all of our cables down here. Ribbon cable. Wiggle that out. And then we got our two ribbon cables up top. Alright, so now we're disconnected. Loosen up the Phillips screws. Do not need to take them all the way out, because if you loosen them up enough, we should be able to just slide this thing out. Alright, now they're all loosened up, should be able to lift up and come right out of there. And there we go. Alright, so here is a side-by-side comparison between your standard OEM board and the RocketCPU. Now, they provide a couple of tools inside the package for you. This is going to be a very useful tool. Now, something to take note of is the fact that on your new board, the main feature is that you're no longer going to have AA batteries keeping your high scores and settings. You now have the CR2032 battery. You also have the option for NVRAM if you were to purchase that chip separately. It does not come with NVRAM, but it is right here in case you need it. You also have your dip switch settings right here in case that you do install it. There is a certain dip switch setting that you need to have when you do install this. But this is how the board comes, like this. But this is the board ordered if it's ready to go. You have a couple of different options. You can have the board, just the basic board, without your ROM and without the ASIC chip right here. This is the Mac Daddy chip. This thing is $100, guys. This is a $100 chip. This thing is almost as expensive as the board itself. So, like I said earlier, the majority of the time, the main issue is batteries will leak down and mess up everything down below. So chances are your ASIC chip is still good to go and your actual game ROM chip is still good to go. So more than likely, you're just gonna need the board itself, which is I think $180, and the board ready to go with everything on it, you're looking at $300. This one, they provided me with the Getaway high speed chip. I'm not putting this in my Getaway game because I've already got a new board in there, so I don't need to replace it with this one. But they gave me, I guess, the most recent code for said game. But you can specify what game you want and they will provide it like this. So I'm using Doctor Who, so I'm gonna need to swap out these two chips. I don't need to swap out these two chips because this board has it already. This is the board that has everything ready to go. But let's say, for instance, you needed to take, if you bought just a regular board and you need to remove this ASIC chip and the ROM chip, what would you go about doing? That's where this handy dandy tool right here comes into play. You'll notice that you have this area and this area right there. All you have to do, bring those inside and squeeze. May require two hands, guys. I'm trying to get a good visual for you. There we go. And that chip has been removed. Now, of course, you want to make sure you get the orientation correctly whenever you put it into your new game, or your new board, I should say. So, when it comes to putting it into the game, make sure you have the orientation correct, and you can literally just snap into place. Just like that. So, once again, removal. Just like that. Now let's say you needed to move your ROMs like this right here. Now this chip removal can also be used. It's very situational. I mean, I could try, but I don't like the way this is positioned. I don't like to use this tool. This is the most common one I prefer to use because it slides. This also comes with it, guys. This one right here comes with it. So what I'm going to do, slide it up underneath this and just pry up a little bit. Go to the other side. Let me get this board out of the way. Get up underneath there, pry up a little bit. I usually sometimes even do a little bit of a twist. You don't want to pry it too much on one side
Sweet. None of the pins are bent. And that chip has been removed. So those are the only two chips that you're gonna need to actually swap out if you got the board without everything. So just your main ASIC chip and your ROM chip are the only two that you're gonna need to remove. So let's say we've done that. Let's get rid of the old board. So then I would make sure my orientation is correct, pop in my new ASIC chip like I showed you earlier. Now I don't need the high-speed getaway one, so let's get that removed and out of the way. Alright, getaway's removed. When installing your new chip, you want to make sure that all your pins are in the sockets. Give it a good look over before you go pushing down on it. Get it from both sides of the chip. And then push down evenly. Alright, then look around the chip to make sure you don't have any of the pins sticking out. That looks good. So technically this board is ready to be installed. Some other noteworthy features that I need to mention before I forget is that you now have a built-in no more reset. There has been in the past, and still currently, a little board that you can buy that plugs into your MPU that basically keeps it from resetting. It's a common WPC issue. It's an underlying issue, but that little board is basically a cheat in order to bypass that issue. You also have the option for an external battery if you do not want to use this. So you can actually hook up right here and have a remote battery if you so want to. These batteries right here, typically they're going to last you at least 5 years. So this is definitely a lot better option than your AA batteries that you had before. Alright, so let's get this installed back into Doctor Who and make sure it works. Alright, so let's get this baby back installed. May have to finagle your way around all the wires and connectors that are in the way, guys. But once you do, should just slide right into place. Looks like I missed a couple of screws down there. There we go. All my Phillips screws are in place. So then all I got to do is tighten them back up. Doesn't require much tension, guys. Alright, so now we're done with our Phillips. Now it's just a matter of connecting everything back where it goes. So I'd start from the top of the board and work your way around. Alright. Just going to verify that everything is plugged in. Alright, let's go ahead and get this back in so that way we know that we've got a working display. Now, chances are we're going to have a dot error for date and time not set. Let's find out. Got some nice little glowing green light up here. Bookkeeping, factory settings restored. Let me move my camera back so I can open the coin door. My goodness, that is loud. Date and time not set. And that is it. So let's turn the volume down for one thing. Alright, that's a little better. So date and time not set, we can go in there and Get that set real quick. All right, date and time are now set. All right, so let's get a close-up now of this board when it's all powered on, because I just noticed that we've got some cool LEDs going here. Now, they didn't have to, but they've got like a nice little green LED behind the rocket on this one. So, and you got your little nice little green glow coming from behind the board as well. There you go.
And that is PinSound's RocketCPU for WPC89. As I stated in the video, the base model for this card is $180 US dollars. And I have done the pricing, guys. I have gone through multiple websites and they have got this card priced accordingly. It is right there in the sweet spot of $180 because a majority of the people selling this type of card are looking at least 200 bucks. And that comes without, of course, your ASIC chip. This little bitty chip right here, this little Williams ASIC chip, that's $100 for this darn thing. I think the cheapest I've seen it for was $85, and that's not including shipping. So that is the main cost. And like I said, this is a rarity to go bad. I think the only time I've ever had an issue with the ASIC chip is not so much the chip, it's actually the socket. I've seen cracks within the socket itself, not being able to make a good connection. So the chances are you're only going to need the base board. Unless you're missing the board, then you're going to probably want to go ahead and get the whole $300 ready to play edition. Install was incredibly easy. You saw it pretty much in real time. I've sped things up just to make the video shorter. I obviously want to thank PinSound for sponsoring this video and sending me this card so that way I can show all of you out there what it can do, how to install it, and if this is a thing that you need for your games. The PinSound brothers will be coming to Texas Pinball Festival, so by all means, this would be a good time to buy it. I don't know how many of this card will be available at the show, but I'm pretty sure they're definitely going to have a stock available for purchase. If you feel like this product is something you need, I have links in the description down below. By all means, check them out. What is your thoughts about this RocketCPU for WPC89? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like what you've seen here and maybe even learned something, give me the thumbs up. Smash that subscribe button, ding my dong, that way you can be notified of whenever I upload something for your viewing pleasure. And until next time, guys, peace out.